joining us. I'm Asiye Namdar in Washington. A renewed commitment from Chinese President Xi Jinping. He's vowing to make it easier for foreign companies to do business there, saying China would open its doors only wider to the world. Xi made the comments during the keynote address at the opening of a major international trade expo in Shanghai. Thousands of companies from around the world are taking part. CGTN Zoyu reports.
Building a shared future in the new era. While addressing the CIIE's opening ceremony, President Xi Jinping said that China has made great progress in expanding imports to promote consumption and reducing trade barriers as part of the nation's efforts to further open up its market. He also expressed strong opposition to protectionism and unilateralism, calling for countries to jointly build a world economy of openness and cooperation.
The challenges that the global economy faces cannot be tackled by a single country alone. Countries should uphold the concept of putting humanity first and should not let their own interests override that of the mankind. We must have a more open mindset and take steps to work together to make the global market even bigger. We need to strengthen the mechanisms for sharing globally and explore new ways of international cooperation. We should put more focus on globalization and remove obstructions as much as we can.
Since the first CIIE, numerous concrete measures have been carried out in areas like widening foreign access, improving China's business environment, and increasing service imports. Those have not only reinforced global confidence in the Chinese market, but also earned the expo itself a good reputation. And this time, President Xi put forward 3 proposals for economic globalization, including jointly building an open and cooperative world economy, jointly building an open and innovative world economy, and jointly building an open and sharing world economy. Moreover, China will also adopt 5 measures to promote high-level opening up in areas such as opening up its market and improving its business environment.
China will continue improving the country's business environment, making it more international and market legislation oriented. We will expand market access for foreign investment and continue reducing the negative list. We should also improve the investment promotion and protection mechanisms and information report system.
He also called on countries to strengthen protection of intellectual property rights and oppose knowledge blockades to avoid creating or even widening technological divides. The world has become increasingly aware about the huge consumption potential in the Chinese market, and that is why this Import Expo is seen as a golden opportunity for companies not only here in China, but also around the world to tap into the shared benefits and also prosperity. So Yun, CGTN, Shanghai.
Well, with U.S. and Chinese officials still hammering out a trade deal, there's been a lot of uncertainty for businesses on both sides of the Pacific. But the dispute has not dampened U.S. interest in trading with China. CGTN's Gerald Tan explains.
The governments are still in talks, but their companies are ready to do business. The second China International Import Expo is showing signs that U.S. firms are more willing than ever to strike deals with Chinese corporations. They're occupying a combined exhibition area of 47,500 square meters. That's nearly a third more than last year. In total, 192 companies from the U.S. exhibiting, and they include a wide range of sectors from aviation to services and logistics. Some big names, General Motors, Deloitte, and UPS. Telecoms equipment company Qualcomm is showcasing achievements with Chinese partners in 5G cell phones, artificial intelligence, and smart cities, among others. And making a second appearance is GE, the General Electric company's unveiling products and solutions for China's clean energy development, and it's seeking greater ties with the government to help it defend product patents. Here's Rachel Duan, the CEO of GE's Global Growth Organization.
we're in a product and technology business, so IP is really, intellectual property is really the lifeline for us. So continue to improve the IP protection, particularly around the enforcements in the provincial and different provinces level is critical for us.
During last year's CIIE, participants struck deals for goods and services worth more than $57 billion. And if it's any indication that expectations and interest are riding high, more than 100 companies have already signed up for the 2020 Import Expo a whole year before the event is due to take place. Gerald Tan, CGTN, Washington.
And Anna Ashton joins us in our Washington studio. She's the Senior Director of Government Affairs at the U.S.-China Business Council. Anna, welcome to our program. Thank you. Let me begin with this trade expo going on in Shanghai. Certainly a lot of optimism, a lot of promises from Chinese President Xi Jinping, really trying to put the focus on China, not just as a manufacturer, but as an importer, as buyer of the world's goods. But there is also a lot of skepticism about what he had to say. How much progress has China made in this area?
Well, so, I mean, absolutely, China is a buyer of the world's goods, and it's got a huge consumer market, right? Its middle class is larger than our entire population here in the United States. Its middle class is only 15% of its population right now. Once it gets to 50%, which is what our middle class is, it will be almost 3 times the size of the United States. So this is a huge market for US businesses and businesses around the world. They all want to tap into it and feel like they need to in order to be successful globally.
So why the skepticism from the, from US companies, from business leaders?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of, optimism and skepticism. There are, I think, approximately 200 US companies that are participating in this year's expo. A good 40 of them are our member companies. We have seen some progress from China in opening up its market and reforming it in ways that make it more business friendly, but there still are plenty of things that it can continue to do in order to truly be integrated with the international economy.
You mentioned a number of companies are there: General Motors, Tesla, Ford, Honeywell, International, GE. China says more than 190 companies are attending, up from last year, which was 174. French President Emmanuel Macron, Anna, is there. But the U.S. did not send a high-level delegation to this event. I mean, you've got the French president there. So was that, in hindsight, a mistake? And what are the kind of messages the U.S. sending by not sending a high-level delegation?
I mean, it's not surprising that the U.S. didn't send a high-level delegation, given the fact that we have been in tense trade talks for months now. I think this is the 13th round of negotiations, but I don't think that that means that we're not making progress. Despite the fact that we aren't going to see a China leader or a U.S.-China leaders meeting on the sidelines of APEC now that the APEC summit is canceled, I still think that we are likely to see a phase 1 deal in the coming weeks, and that is going to help normalize, at least normalize talks for the short term.
So phase 1, almost there. What happens after phase 1? More complicated, thorny issues in phase 2?
We don't have a lot of visibility into that. What we know is that phase 1, the most important thing, probably from President Trump's perspective, is the ag purchase agreement. But there definitely has been talk of moving forward on IP protection and enforcement, some talk of tech transfer agreements, and some other things that were sort of more the structural issues that the 301 investigation was trying to get at. However, I think we are going to need a phase 2 and a phase 3 in order to really see progress on those more thorny structural issues.
All right, we'll leave it there. Anna Ashton, a pleasure as always. Thank you. A new UN study is showing the impact